Live look at the White House as the sun comes up on this Friday morning. It's going to be a beautiful day here in Washington. Welcome back to Morning Joe. Michael Steele and Jeremy Peters are still with us. And joining the table, we have NBC News. Yeah, you guys, really? Are you taking after Joe? Can I help you with your jacket, Chris? Come on over. Let me help you out here. Just get yourself dressed. And we'll
Wow.
yeah, right here. All right. And have a seat here, Big Daddy. Come on, sit down. All right, Chuck Todd's here, moderator of Meet the Press. How are you? Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Joe, they take after you. You are a bad example, sir.
Procrastinator, Joe.
You were a bad example.
I think they're to blame for their own tardiness. I can take responsibility for many things, but not that. So
Well, it's
we have an
great to
awful
have
lot
you,
to
Chris
talk about
Matthews.
this morning, Mika.
And Chuck Todd. Yes, we're going to start. Actually, we've got a lot of politics to get to that we didn't get to last vlog. We'll start with the top story here, though. At the top of the hour, lawmakers are increasing their pressure for travel bans amid growing questions about the government's response to Ebola. Members of both parties grilled CDC Director Thomas Frieden and other top health officials at a congressional hearing on Thursday. Frieden says he remains confident there will not be a large-scale outbreak in the U.S., but Congress still had plenty of questions about why the government is allowing in people from Ebola-affected regions.
We do not have to leave the door open to all travel to and from hot zones in Western Africa while Ebola is an unwelcome and dangerous stowaway on these flights. Why are we still allowing folks to come over here, and why, once they're over here, is there no quarantine?
I just don't understand. If we have a system in place that requires any airline passenger from coming in overseas with a date of birth to make sure they're not on the anti-terrorist list, that we can't look at one's travel history and say, no, you're not coming here. Not until this situation, you're right, it needs to be solved in Africa, but until it is, we should not be allowing these folks in, period.
Perhaps this committee should consider forwarding to the full House a request that we have a vote on a travel restriction, because people are asking us to do that, and I think they are exactly correct to make that request.
While other members push back against a travel ban, nearly 60 representatives and 11 senators support the idea. Chris Matthews, what's your gut on a travel ban?
Well, it's easy.
It's
the easiest argument in the world, and in many ways it replicates the larger problem liberals have. It's more complicated to be a liberal. To be a conservative, you simply have to say, look, common sense says segregate these people off from us. A leper colony, keep them away. It's an easy one because we're talking about quarantining individuals. Why not quarantine countries?
Yeah.
And on the Democratic side, I think there is sort of an implicit kind of sympathy. Why do we want to do that to people? But the way the doctors explain it is very complicated. I can't understand their argument, really.
Okay, so Chuck Todd, we've been hearing...
I just want to, now let me interrupt for a second, Mika. Chris Matthews, that is the problem, isn't it? You can't understand their argument.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. I've said for 3 weeks, if they would come forward with a logical reason on why travel restrictions really would stop us from sending people over, then
I think
the light bulb would go over my head and 70% of Americans' head, and they'd go, okay, that makes sense. We haven't heard that explanation yet.
I think that's why the president kept the door open last night on that issue when he had the briefing.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think he kept the door open on Azar and a lot of things. It's a very hard position to defend what's happening now. Although the American people are very intolerant right now of any casualties. We're talking about 2 people now.
Right.
In a country of 330 million people practically. And I think we are very intolerant of any kind of pain right now. The country's very sensitive for all kinds of reasons. I don't understand exactly why it is, but we're not exactly in a tough mode right now for Americans. We're not ready to tough this one out. We just say, shut that darn door.
Well, because it would actually prevent it from happening. I mean, if Thomas Eric Duncan had not come here, we would not be talking about this right now. Chuck Todd, is that not the case? And describe, do you think...
Except he lied.
Describe what...
Well, and that's something you're not going to be able to stop.
Describe what you think the fine line is that the president is walking here.
Well, look, he's getting a lot of pressure from Democrats who are worried that this is having an impact on the campaign. And he's getting pressure, like, get control of this, show that you're in charge of the government, get a spokesperson, some people want to call it a czar, but get somebody who's the spokesperson, who's not you, Mr. President. They don't necessarily want him to be the face on this right now because of the political problems that he has already and the stuff that he's accumulated. And I think this travel ban is something that, you know, Congress always needs to look like it's done something.
Right.
So this feels like one of those, give the politicians something that they have quote unquote done. Look, the medical community, the scientific community sits there and says it doesn't do anything. They don't see the they don't see the upside. They wear up. It doesn't matter. I think this is one of those where sometimes when you're governing, you do things to keep the public calm. That's part of your job as a government. It doesn't matter what the scientific what you can make a scientific argument here or a medical. It doesn't matter. You've got to do those things. And I think in this case, Congress wants to be the one to do something.
But Chuck, this isn't fear versus logic. I mean, you have the director of the CDC who has been asked repeatedly why a travel ban wouldn't make sense. The head of the CDC, he cannot provide a cogent, clear, logical answer. And so a lot of people go on TV and say, well, gee, the science community and the medical community says it wouldn't make any sense. Okay, well, fine. Chris Matthews brought up the point that I've brought up that I think 65, 70% of Americans agree with. We haven't seen somebody step forward and give a logical reason why we can't do two things at once. A travel ban would not stop us from working aggressively to stop the spread of Ebola in West Africa. It would only focus on stopping the spread of Ebola in America.
But I don't think a travel ban, I mean, let's be realistic here. There's going to be a lot of U.S. personnel, a lot of U.S. doctors that are going to be in West Africa fighting this disease.
Right.
The fact of the matter is,
trapped there.
Yeah, right. The fact of the matter is, we are going to see more Ebola patients in the United States that all stem from maybe doing work on the ground.
I don't understand.
I'm just saying.
It's a non sequitur,
Chuck. So, Joe, let me ask you this. I'm not trying to argue. Let me ask you this. We're going to put a travel ban in. I think it's going to happen just because of the political pressure. But then what's the public going to think when we airlift a few doctors who have been over there fighting this and helping to fight this on the ground, or maybe a member of the military who's been helping to fight because of a protocol, and then are we not going to bring that American back to an American hospital and treat him for Ebola? And it's going to happen again.
Of course we are.
No, I understand that, guys. But that's what we're looking at.
No, of course that's what we're looking at, and that's fine. That is controlled. You know who the American healthcare workers are, and you let them know before they go over that they're going to come back. And because they're on the front lines in this fight against Ebola, they're going to be treated special and taken care of, and we can fly them back, and that is something that we can control. It's not an all or nothing proposition, and that's what the argument has been. Well, gee, it's all or nothing. We either have flights going to and from, and we either are 100% engaged in travel back and forth, or we have to shut the whole operation down. No, I expect healthcare workers to go over there and actually contract it. And when they do, they will come back and they will be taken care of in a very controlled setting.
So I think all of this hangs over the midterms. No, Joe, we hear you. The head of the Republican committee.
I still am waiting for a logical argument as why we can't do two things at once, and I'm still not hearing it.
It's a fair question. It's a fair question, and I think it actually does hang over the midterms, which Jeremy has new reporting on. So let me move.